Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Aaron and welcome back to another video. So yeah, new year, 2026, exciting times ahead. And so the reason why I'm making this video is I felt like now was sort of the perfect time that I can start this again. I feel like there was definitely some challenges in 2025 and I just wanted to address some of those things today. So this time last year, I was excited because I was moving into my first house. And on day one, as soon as we got the keys, I had a gas leak. Exciting times. By the time that all got sorted, that was about March. So at that point, we we're already a quarter of the year in, and we were still sort of off to a rocky start, so to speak. But then 3 months later into that, we was coming up to around my birthday, which was exciting. And I always like to joke that because my birthday's end of June, I get presents every 6 months. Also does make the time feel a bit quicker because of all the milestones that you go through. And so the reason why this plays a factor is I knew that I was going to a wedding day before my birthday. Essentially, the day before that, I found out that my nan had a brain aneurysm, like a bleed on the brain, and that put her into intensive care. And the reason why that was quite sort of pivotal was because it's only a little while beforehand that I had actually seen her, like 2 weeks beforehand. And I was sort of thinking that I'd see her since, but because she was meant to be celebrating my birthday with me, we can have a barbecue. Sort of think, well, no point popping around because I'm only going to see her at the weekend, for example. But it's weird because I did end up having an accident that was actually life-threatening. But luckily, everything sort of worked out. And if it wasn't for that accident, then I wouldn't have actually been able to sort of have my last conversation with my nan. So you sort of cherish that a lot, really. Life sort of got a weird way of sort of telling you things and making you have these sort of moments. I mean, in her case, I got a phone call from my mum, and I'm thinking it's about my granddad who's been ill for quite a while. And the bomb drop was essentially that it was about my nan, who very active. The day she went was the day before I was going to this wedding. She was having her house decorated. She went to go meet one of her friends, do some walking, have a coffee and a cake, or tea and a cake in her case. Decided to pop by my mum's. My mum was putting the washing on the line. She was helping her. Next thing you know, she thought she was having a stroke and she passed away in my mum's arms. So that was a shock to everyone. Never really got to say a proper goodbye to her, apart from when I did sort of see her in the hospital. But I mean, she wasn't really there at that point. Probably be able to hear us all, but I mean, it was her brain that was sort of what sent her to sleep in the end. So yeah, that's July. Well, end of June, that puts us into July. I ended up just playing Pokemon because it was Pokemon Go Fest on that weekend. And then sort of because my plans had cancelled, some of my fiance's family was able to come over and we was able to celebrate. I mean, it was quite late. We ended up having a barbecue at 8 o'clock at night, but you know what? They made the effort, so you got to be grateful for that. I still went to the wedding, put on a brave face. Couldn't say anything, could you? Because you're not gonna sort of ruin someone's day, are you? Really? I can have time to grief, but they get their one wedding day and they're happy, and not because they'd sort of. I mean, it's not to make it about me, is it? Is it really? You just talk about them. You go, it's their day. We kept that to ourselves. We didn't want anyone to sort of know. You can let it out afterwards. Otherwise, you just got people sort of feeling sorry for you, and you're like, no, you're meant to be having a good time. But yeah, so that led us into sort of planning what was happening with her funeral, which, if I'm going off memory, I believe that ended up taking place in August, July, August. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Afterwards, I sort of knew it in my head anyway. I said, once one goes, the other shortly follows, which I've sort of seen happen a few times. And so that was when my granddad got ill. My granddad was 80. My nan would have turned 80 shortly after my birthday. She just didn't quite make it that. But yeah, my granddad was then very ill, took a turn for the worst. And as I said, this is about August at this point. So yeah, then he's sort of in and out of hospital. And in my nan's case, my nan never was alone, really. She was like married at 21, never had been on her own. So she never had that sort of feeling. And then even in my granddad's case, because even though that sort of brief period, he had my aunt round him. They only would have been in hospital. But we did have lots of visitors. And then when he got back out of hospital, he then had my mum and aunt sort of staying with him. And then that sort of led us to December where he did pass. So I know that I'll be attending his funeral next week. But it's sad times. It was a lot of sad times. But yeah, I know there was a few ups, but it just sort of gets clouded. I mean, I was lucky to have both sets of grandparents. My other nan has cancer. She had a bad turn. She was in hospital just before Christmas. She made it out just before Christmas, so I did get to see her Christmas Eve. My fiance's nan, last remaining grandparent, she also had a bad turn before Christmas, but again, she made it out just before Christmas, so that was nice. But that's the thing. You have good memories in between all the bad things, which is why I wanted to make this video. Really, I could get it off my chest. And one thing that I wanted to do is start making content again because I was doing well. I really did think I was doing well. I was finding the time to record. I was doing that series because I thought if I did make a series, that meant I could bulk record and I can just start uploading videos that way. But then obviously I had some hiccups and that threw me off track. So yeah, this is why I'm making this video, because I want to get back into it again. I feel like I have less distractions and I'm happy to see what happens, if I'm honest. So I appreciate everyone that watched this video. Really means a lot to me. And yeah, let's bring on the new year, okay? So everyone stay safe, look after yourselves, and I'll speak to you all soon. Take care all. Sweet.